Hey everybody, it's Christine up today for Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, and I am going to once again be getting a little crazy with the creative photo corners. I am going to use them today to create a snowflake background. So what I'm doing right now is I am just figuring out the center point of my 12 by 12 cardstock that I've got here, trying to make sure that I want my snowflake to be centered right in the middle, and so just trying to make sure that I have the right starting point for that. I am going to actually begin to build from the outside in because of the way these will layer. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the triangular side and pointing it out and then layering the next one on top of it so that the tip of that triangle touches into the bottom of it really ends up being a zigzag or chevron shape. So it's going to go right up into it. And I'm going to do that all the way down, trying to keep it as straight as possible. That was a little bit of a challenge, but not a huge challenge. I did have to do some rearranging here and there. And I'm going to do that on all 4 points. So I'm going to speed up a little bit because there's a lot to this and I don't want you to have to sit through an hour of this. But I'll do this for all 4 points that I have already drawn in. Next, I'm going to build some little angled offshoots from each branch of the snowflake. And I started at the top. And again, those triangles are going to be pointing out away from the snowflake. And I'm kind of honestly just going with what seems to work here. I tested a little bit off camera, but I'm going to be honest, I don't totally have a plan here. One thing I am trying to be intentional about is doing the same thing on each branch of the snowflake before I go on to anything else. So I'm going to do that, just that really short one up at the tip, and then I will move down further. Now you can see I've got that done on all 4. So now I'm going to move down a little bit and do the same thing. Now here's the toughest part about this. Figuring out exactly where to do it on each one was a little bit of a challenge. So what I tried to do as I did this was not push down too hard, kind of lightly place them and see if I liked the angle, liked the spacing before I really pushed it down and committed to it staying there. And even just when I would go to the next one, making sure that I was starting in the same place. So making sure, again, that I just had the right angle, had the right placement before I pushed down real hard. And honestly, they didn't stick down so hard by just gently placing them there that I couldn't pull them back up when I needed to. And there was definitely a few times that I needed to. In fact, this one right here, I started too low, and then I'm going to have to pull it back up and fix it because it's too low. And see, I see right there, pull it back up and move up one. And you can tell pretty quick if you're in the wrong place just because of the background. You'll see that your angle in between the 2 branches is too big. And then that was kind of helpful because also like looking at how, you could push the little pieces too far down or a little too far up. So trying to keep those blue angles inside uniform was something that kind of helped me keep the whole thing uniform. I just used uniform to describe uniform, but if you understand what I'm saying, like eyeballing that on the one side, let me look at the other side and try and get my angle going that same way, as well as looking back at the previous one that I did. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not expect this to turn out as cool as it did. It was literally 11:30 at night. I had this idea. And so I came back to my scrap room and I actually had started another project for Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L today and decided, I'm going to just try this instead. And I was kind of kicking myself because I was tired and the project was due the next day. But man, this is maybe my favorite of all the projects that I've done where I create weird creative photo corner backgrounds. So definitely worth it. It took me less than 2 packages to complete it too, so keep that in mind. It was not a crazy amount of photo corners for sure. Now, as I'm working my way out, I feel like it's not quite as wide as I would like it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and add another set of creative photo corners to the end just to expand it a little bit. Part of that, I think, is because I'm concerned about how much I'm going to cover up with the picture. And so I don't want all this to get completely hidden by the picture. And so I'm just kind of trying to think through that as I go. With that in mind, I'm going to add another element to this. And what I'm going to do is this time I'm going to point the triangles in towards the center of the snowflake so that I have the squared off side. And I'm going to build some additional branches doing that. And again, I was like, whoa, wow, that actually worked. Okay, cool. I just love how it came together. So this would have a totally different look if you were to use the silver or the gold foil creative photo corners, just because they are not all one color. But with the white ones, it works great. And I think the craft ones are also all that color. But I mean, white and the snowflake is pretty much perfect. So that is a good way to go. And you can see how that extra branch is just adding in, just making it look a lot more complete. Finally, I am going to just add in a little bit to the top of that, again, making those arrows point out again, and just creating kind of a little bit extra on there. And then I will get to decorating the rest of the layout. So very fun creative photo corner technique. Hopefully you could track with me. Definitely feel free to stop, pause, and just copy it right along with me. So I trimmed down the blue cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to this gorgeous blue patterned paper and white pattern. Well, I'm going to mat it with white patterned paper, and then I'm going to add it to the blue. And this is all from Cartabella, and it is a page kit from the scrap room this month. Just gorgeous blues, wintry theme, of course, and just a really pretty collection. So I was excited to play with it a little bit. Now, something you don't see me do a lot is single picture layouts. But it seems like when I do a fun background with the creative photo corners, I do tend to do the single photo layouts. So that is going to be the case again today. I'm going to use this really great picture of my son and my husband sledding. And I have added some layers beneath it with some different patterned papers in the collection. And I'm going to go ahead and just center it right smack dab in the middle of the snowflake. I am going to go ahead and use some crafty foam tape to pop it up so it has some dimension. And just that because at this point I don't have much dimension. I've got a lot of texture going on with the creative photo corners, but not the dimension that I like to have yet. One thing I often point out to you guys is that if you have a busy background, you do not need to go overboard with your embellishing. And so that is definitely going to be the case today. I'm going to have a very, very simple background. I'm going to add in some chipboard elements that came with the page kit. These are snowflakes, so they'll fit perfectly with that theme. And I'm going to do just some very basic stuff to add to it. I ended up deciding to pull my title from a package of foam stickers from Simple Stories. And I liked the word together. I just felt like it fit really well. I also liked the way it popped off the page. So I opted for that. I didn't have a great title option in the chipboard, and I misplaced the other part of my embellishments from this page kit. So maybe there was a good one in there. But I don't know. So I dug into Simple Stories, and I think this one really pops and adds something nice to the layout. Final touch is going to be, if you've watched this channel a lot, you can probably guess, yes, Nouveau drops. I'm going to add a few little blue Nouveau drops just on both sides of the title, and then we will call it good. I will create a playlist right now and link you to it for all my Creative Photo Corner projects. And definitely tell me if you've tried any of these or if you've tried anything else unique with photo corners. I would love to hear about it in the comments down below. If you're new here too, be sure to say hi. It's always fun to see and hear from new people. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you for stopping by today. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my faithful viewers, and for all of your really lovely comments. I do truly appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and we will see you again soon.